Good morning. Okay, so welcome to Polly's podcast. This is episode 1, and I am Polly, and this is my first live anything. This is Polly's podcast, which I already said that, and I'm here with my coffee. Good morning to you all. Please subscribe, it's free. This is about my personal weight loss journey, and I have dropped over 35 pounds. And I did it within, actually, the majority was less than 3 months. And then I've continued to heal since then. And I started March 22nd of 2025. That's this year. And today is October the 9th. So here I am. I don't know what to say. Let's see. So I basically started my journey because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I mean, literally, I was sitting at my dining room table, and there's a large mirror at the end. And as I was sitting here, I noticed when I looked in the mirror, I glanced and I said, "What is that?" And that was my belly. My belly was almost touching my knees as I was sitting at the table. And that was so unflattering to me, and it really was very disappointing to me. Another thing is, I couldn't tie my shoes without gasping for air. Now look, I was always super tiny, like 125 pounds, 120 pounds, and I literally could eat anything. I owned a restaurant, for goodness sake, and I ate nothing but pizza all the time and never gained an ounce of weight. So, and I was very athletic, always very athletic. It's been very, very crazy because when I started to gain the weight, I didn't do anything about it. So that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that when I gained the weight, I held on to it, right? And just made excuses for myself. And I don't know if anyone listening to this has had that experience, but that's also disheartening. So March 22nd, I decided that I wasn't going to wait for a Monday. I wasn't going to wait for a Friday or a Wednesday. I wasn't going to wait for the first of the week or the first of the month or any of those excuses that I've made in the past. And so I said, look, this is ridiculous. I am a nutritionist. I actually am a livestock specialist also. And I know what a proper hog diet is or a proper chicken diet is, right? We all know chickens are not vegetarians. We know what they're supposed to eat. And turkeys and cows are grass-fed, grass-finished, goats and sheep. And I know that for humans also. But doing research and reading research and reading metadata and being involved in that industry is not the same as following your own advice. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of mechanics have really terrible running cars. So I guess I'm one of them because I give a lot of advice, good advice. Thank goodness I've given good advice to my clients in the past. But why didn't I just take my own advice more seriously? Why? I mean, I realized that I have to sit and read and sit and study. And yes, that's true. But I ended up getting a stand-up desk. That was like a few years ago because I knew years ago, stop sitting. So I stopped sitting. I work hard. I work on on a working organic farm and ranch in Southern California. And I know better. And I don't want episode number 1 to be all about like how disappointing my choices have been, but it's true. Just disappointing. Comfort food, and I can give you all the ridiculous excuses, right? Oh, I lost family members, right? Suddenly or tragically, or cancer, or one of my best friends, I found him dead. I can give you all the excuses, but none of them are a good reason. None of them. So, coffee time. I made a conscious decision to just stop being unreasonable. And then I did the unthinkable. I started browsing YouTube. So I laugh because I generally don't do this. And I came across Dr. Barry, Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Sinclair from Harvard, and, an entire community of beautiful, wholesome people who are touting the health benefits of taking responsibility for our diet and our choices. And I even came across the snake diet, Cole, gentleman. He's a bit brass, but he's funny. He's not only funny, he does his homework. Yeah, he's shocking, but I think that sometimes I needed that shock that he was offering. And it's, what he says is true to me. When he was talking, and he's a little shocking, he's right. So, you either love him or you hate him, but those of us that are in between are a very small community. But, he holds his own. He holds his own. Cole will hold his own. So I came across this giant community of people that were not afraid to speak up. And we're talking about the health benefits of eating chicken, beef, pork, lamb, goat, eggs, bacon, butter. And I was shocked because we know that that's how you keep the insulin low. And we know that insulin is a storage hormone. But who's going to talk about that out loud? I mean, they're going to get shunned. They're going to get excommunicated from the community, right? But they were speaking out loud. And I was so proud of them all. So for me, in this episode 1 of Polly's podcast, I want to just say I didn't think about starting. I just started. I literally came home and threw away everything that should not be in the house or in the refrigerator or freezer. Now, I can say that pretty easily because I live and work on an organic farm and ranch where organic meat and eggs are produced. I do butcher. I am a butcher. And so I know that if you're listening to this, which I don't think anyone is listening to this because I'm the only one here. It was easy for me. So let me just speak to my journey because I'm not talking to anybody, I don't think. Anyway, I am very grateful. I am so blessed. I grow and raise all my own food. So I said to myself, 3 months, 90 days, only eat what you grow, self. And I said, oh, challenge accepted. So that's what I did. I put the bags, the boxes down. Look, I've never really been a big eating out of a box kind of gal. Never. I think the worst I ever purchased was pasta noodles. And if I didn't purchase them, I would make them. So I'm big. I make my own vinegar, right? Make my own vinegar mothers. I make my own cheese from raw dairy. So I never really been that big. And my pantry is one small cupboard. That's for the dry goods. And it had like beans and peas and things like that in it. But I'm going to be very, very brutally honest here and say I love fried chicken and fried food. And I do love Italian and Greek food like lasagna and pasticcio. Look, those things in themselves, they're not bad for you, okay? They're not bad. But when you eat like that every single day, that's not smart. I love a good chili relleno. And I've never really been a big rice eater. So, I got fat. So I went from being like 120, 125 to 187. And at one point, I was creeping up to 189. And it's not comfortable to talk about that number. And I don't know why. There's something psychologically not right about it. I think because it creeps to 190. And man, it was not comfortable. Nothing fit. I refused to buy new clothes because that's big clothes. Who wants to buy big clothes? Nobody. So I walked around in ill-fitting clothes. It just wasn't pretty at all. I was getting tired walking from the farmhouse to the butchering barn. And that's like less than 500 feet. Not smart. So then I decided to, lose some weight, which I did, okay? I did it the more traditional way. I should call it the commercially acceptable, safe way of doing it, which was through chicken salad, steak salad. And I cannot stand vegetables. I do not like vegetables at all, unless they're hidden in food. So that was torture for me. I'm not a big vegetable fan at all. I don't know why, but I love some fruit. The Mediterranean blood loves the fruit. And, I just kept getting tired. And I did lose. I went from 187 to 171. And that was a huge win. That's a lot of pounds of fat. So, and the reason I say that that's a lot is because, I lift a lot of heavy weights. I mean, not weights. I'm talking about bales of hay and other very heavy items around the farm and ranch. So 1 pound, which is 16 ounces of body fat, is a lot of fat. You put that on your plate in one glob, that is a lot of fat. So going from 187 to 171 was a lot of body fat. And to think that that body fat was surrounding my organs, it's shameful. Absolutely shameful. When Dr. Ken Berry out of Tennessee, said it's okay to eat fat, which I knew it was okay to eat fat, but knowing something and then doing it are two different things. And I needed that reassuring voice, I guess. And I don't know why, because I'm not that person. But apparently, maybe I am that person. Maybe I am that person, okay? Because when he said, go ahead and eat fat, I just went, oh, all right. I mean, here's a random guy on the internet. I'm a random person, so do not do anything that I've done, please. I'm just a random human being on the internet. I am, and here I was just listening because he was compelling and his community is compelling. Kelly Hogan, the ketogenic woman. I mean, there's so many people. And just recently, as I was starting this channel, for some reason, YouTube can read your brain, and it read my brain, and it started introducing me to all these beautiful, lovely human beings that have had amputations due to diabetes. They have had such horrible health struggles. One gentleman, he was very, very large his entire life, and now he's walking to the mailbox, and he just inspired. These people are so inspirational, all of them, every single one of you. If any of you ever come here and look at this channel, I want you to know that you have me in tears. You have my heart, because if it wasn't for you, I would not be having Polly's podcast. No way. I was so embarrassed, so humiliated that I would not have done this. You've inspired me to do this. So thank you. It's not easy, especially when you eat feelings. So I guess I was eating my feelings. And I'm talking cheesecake, ice cream. Okay, you know how normal people will have a slice of cake? Not me. If there's a cake in the house, it's gone in 2 days. Because that's all I'm eating. Cake. It was so embarrassing, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And I did it to myself. And I held on to that dear fat. I held on to that dear fat like it was going out of style. Now, why? I don't know. But on March 22nd, 2025, I saw some pictures. It was like the day, no, it wasn't. It was the day before. Not that it matters. I used to go roller skating. I still go roller skating. I love roller skating. I like ice skating, snow skiing, go-kart racing, all that. Like I said, I haven't stopped being active, but I'm not as active as I was. So I saw some pictures of me roller skating with some friends, and my friends are beautiful, by the way. All my friends, everybody in my life is absolutely beautiful, inside and out. They're just angels from heaven. Thank you, God, for bringing me such beautiful, beautiful friends. They have the best hearts. So we took some pictures, and I just said, oh my goodness gracious, who is that fat girl? It was me. I was the fat girl. Thank God I didn't fall and hurt myself, because that would have been disastrous. So very unhealthy, very unhealthy. And I'm not talking about anybody else when I say that because I was fat, and I still have a ways to go, that I was unhealthy. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about you or anybody that you know or other people. Your side, and they're perfectly healthy. what does that say? My connection is unstable. Please wait while we try to resolve this issue. I don't even know what that means. Am I not live? Am I live? I have no idea. So I'm just going to keep on going. So I that next day after I saw those pictures, I just said, oh no, this cannot continue. I have to do something because I'm out of breath when I walk to the butchering barn. I cannot reach down and tie my shoes without being out of breath. I don't want to look at my gut hanging close to past the midsections of my thighs in the mirror. And no, I said, look to myself, self, tomorrow's going to come and go whether you like it or not. What story do you want to tell yourself? That was tough because that means I have to hold myself accountable. So I did. I threw everything out. That was step number one. I threw everything out of the house. But I think had I not lived on a farm and ranch, I would definitely have gone to the store and purchased, if I was on a budget, if I was like on a really, really crazy low budget, I would have only purchased the least expensive items. And look, I'm not going to pretend to know what is for sale at a grocery store because I really don't. I honestly don't know how much meat costs. I don't know what the price of chicken is. I don't know because I buy toilet paper, I buy paper towels, and I've never really been a shopper of meat or poultry. So I don't know what these things cost. I'm sorry. But I'm sure that there are things that are very inexpensive, less than $2 a pound. So if I had been on a very strict budget, I would have looked for those sales on whatever the least expensive meat is, and I would have started that way. And I would not have been all consumed with organic or natural or this or that, because those, again, are excuses, in my opinion, in my head. Yes, I only raise organic and mold-free livestock. Mold-free being they don't get like corn or soy or wheat or oats or barley. These things are laden with mold, mycotoxins and aflatoxin molds, which destroy kidneys and liver, and they are just extremely dangerous. So when I said, this farm is just kind of for very crazy people like me. But apparently I wasn't too crazy because I was willing to eat cake and pie, ice cream. So again, it's funny how we pick and choose what we want to believe, pick and choose what we want to eat, and then we can't control ourselves. I know I'm not alone because I'm a human being, and I know there's got to be at least one more human being that can resonate with this story when I say that, because I can't be the only person, and if I am, oh my goodness, how humiliating. Oh my goodness. Look, my hair was so brittle. It was crazy. Just crazy. I had so many things were going wrong. And I fell into the trap of attributing it to, oh, that's what happens when the years pass. No, it's not what happens when the years pass. That's not what happens. That's another excuse. And I'm going to tell you something. I've been to random medical doctors, not very often because I tend to take care of myself. And I have a community of people who are like-minded, and we take care of each other. And many of them are nurses and medical professionals, doctors, and specialists. So, it took me 2 years to get over a double ear infection because I kept going to doctors for those 2 years. And I was deaf. And the different doctors kept telling me that I had broken eardrums. And anyone who knows me knows that I was trying the holistic stuff, the natural stuff, the crazy natural stuff. Well, it wasn't working because that kind of stuff is best used for, you guessed it, preventative. So, the antibiotics made it a lot worse. But anyway, I eventually went to my personal ear, nose, and throat specialist, and she took care of it in one sitting. And it was about half an hour, and she's just a brilliant human being, a fantastic woman. Actually, her ex-husband was my emergency plastic surgeon when I was mauled by dogs, and my face was mauled by dogs, and he did a remarkable job. He just, wow, yeah, he really saved my face. I mean, I still have scars. You can see them, obviously, right? But that's all right. I own them. They're mine. Okay, so I am Polly. This is Polly's podcast. This is episode 1, and this is the second, the first podcast of how I got started with eating just meat, poultry, eggs, bacon, butter. I did drink raw dairy because I have access to it, and I love my raw dairy. I mean, I wasn't consuming pasteurized dairy because in my world, that can be acidic. Whereas raw dairy, raw goat dairy, 5.5 pH, and it does have some beneficial value. Of course, I'm not sitting here chugging a gallon of raw dairy or a half a gallon of raw dairy. You know, when I say I'm drinking raw dairy, I'm either preparing meals with it, or I'm having a little bit in my coffee, or making butter, or making like a farmer's cheese. And I'm not sitting down eating that stuff like by the pound. So yes, so a little bit of raw dairy, but so like I said before, 187 was 187 pounds, and I went to 171 pounds, and then I went to 153, and today I am 152. So I am still breaking. And it all started with getting some random man's okay on YouTube. Go ahead and eat fat. And so I did my 3 months, 90 days. But before those 90 days were up, I was wearing different clothes. I mean, I started burning bras in my fireplace. That's right. Those big, giant, ugly bras. I mean, I went from wearing no bra ever, right, because I was flat as a board with little tiny breasts, to wearing these giant bras. And I was like, what has happened? Why is this happening? Why don't they just go away like by magic? Why can't I just genie blink, go away? I wanted magic, and I didn't get magic. What I got was having to pay the piper. That's what I got. None of this was overnight, but it was within 3 months. In that time frame, things started to shift. Things were moving. Fat was moving around. Just eating. I did not OMAD. For the first month. No, I did not. I ate as much as I could. I ate throughout the day. I would eat nonstop. But I was only eating bacon and eggs, fried eggs, boiled eggs, poached eggs. I was eating, believe it or not, Costco hot dogs, because I didn't always have time to cook, so I would just come in and just grab a cold hot dog and eat it. So I didn't make the best choices because I didn't have time, but I did stick to eating just meat and eggs and poultry. Sometimes I would get up at 3:35, 3:45 in the morning, stick a whole chicken in the Instant Pot, just turn it on with no seasonings, get ready, and then head out, because so in spring the sun starts to come up sooner and sooner, so I've got to be outside. So just come in and I'd have a whole chicken unseasoned. But I made it work because I was determined to give it an honest 90 days. And I had the biggest face, like big round, what are they call sugar face. Big, huge face and big, huge neck. I just wasn't my happiest, and I wasn't happy looking in the mirror. It's not a good feeling. It was a horrible feeling for me. I never liked, I mean, it was just really sad for me, feeling sorry for me. The more I felt sorry for me, the less I did about it. So I'm so glad that I snapped out of it, because I think the very, very absolute first thing is to say, that's it. I've had enough. Enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being tired and not feeling my best, and I am starting this right now. That's a decision that's hard to make if you're not mentally there. Or in my case, I think I just broke. So I think the takeaway from this episode is that you have to be mentally prepared to say, this is it right now, this second, I'm done. This is it. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to give it an honest try. And an honest try is 21 days to 90 days, because that's how you get all brand new. First of all, let me rewind, because that's how you change habits, create new habits, and get all brand new cells turnover, brand new cell turnover. So what do you want your cells to be made of? I asked myself, self, what do you want your cells to be made of? Good stuff or bad stuff? Are we going to get rid of the bad cells and get the new cells? What are we going to do here? Let's get it right, because we're not going back. So being mentally prepared had a lot to do with it, where I just said, I'm done. And I'm glad I did it. So glad I did it. Wow. I'm wearing short sleeves today. I never wear short sleeves because I still have a ways to go. Still not very proud of my arms, but they are so much better. So I'm getting there, and I hope that this documentation of my journey resonates with just at least one person, so that, just so you know, you're not alone, because it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling to feel that you're alone, and you're not. You're not. Good morning. I'm going to let you go now. And again, I will be back. So please subscribe to Polly's podcast if you find that this content is going to be helpful to you, either now or in the future, or if you think this will help somebody that you know and care about, because I just think we have to band together and really support one another as best as we can through this very challenging and difficult journey. So until next time, be happy and be healthy.